tabletop 2016 Mets replay. We have Syndergaard on the mound. We are in San Francisco, and it's Samardzija for the Giants. Samardzija in 2016 was 20-12 with a 3.81 ERA, and Noah Syndergaard was 14-9 with a 2.60 ERA in 30 starts. So outstanding for sure. And we're keeping stats on these index cards. You can see we have stats for a few of our chosen players. Let's see, we have some pitching stats for April and May. And 1, 2, 3, 4. He won 4 in a row. Syndergaard won 4 in a row and lost one, then won one. He was 5-1, 5-3, 6-3, 7-3. 7-3, and then you turn it over, and he was 9-4 in the month of April and May, and then you move on all the way till August, and 9-5, 10-5, 11-5, 12-5, 13-5, 13-6, 14-6, and that's where we are, 14-6. So that's and on the year. Right, we're in August, so we have probably about another 6 starts to go, I guess. Another 6 starts. On the year, he was 14-9. So he's about there right now. And we are basically following the actual schedule and using actual lineups for our replay. We're going to get started right away. We're using Stratomatic Basic. And it's play ball. It's going to be Jose Reyes leading off for the Mets. He'll be playing third base, followed by Granderson, the center fielder, and Cespedes, the left fielder. Here's the pitch. It's off of Reyes' card. It's a fly ball lifted to center. It's Denard Span in center, and he runs it down for out number 1. Curtis Granderson up next. And that's a 6-9 off Samardzija's card. And that's going to be a hard-hit ground ball right at the shortstop. Brandon Crawford. That's an 18, and Crawford is a 1. Feels it cleanly, guns it to first, just in time to get Granderson hustling down the line. And it's Yoenis Cespedes. 2-9er. 2-9 is going to be a strikeout. The only number on the 2 column outside of 12, 2, and 3 that in which Cespedes does not get a hit. So he strikes out for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the first. No score here in San Francisco. It's going to be Span, Denard Span, center fielder for the Giants. And it's going to be 6-8. That's going to be a strikeout, so Span goes down on strikes. Next is Eduardo Nunez. It's the pitch. It's a 1-3. It's a ground ball right at the second baseman, Walker. 2 away. And it's Brandon Belt. 2-11. And that's going to be a ground ball again to Walker. Feels it to his left. Over to first. 3 up, 3 down. We go to top of the second. This game is moving along. And it's going to be Jay Bruce, 1-11, and that's lined base hit for Jay Bruce. So Bruce on at first with a single. Neil Walker, the batter, he went 3 for 3 in yesterday's game. That's a 3-7, and that's a hard hit ground ball right at Crawford. Over to Panic, back to Belt, 6-4-3, double play, and that erases Bruce's single. It's James Loney. 6-6 off Samardzija's card, and that's going to be lined, caught by the first baseman, Belt, for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the second, no score. Leading off is going to be Brandon Crawford. He is the cleanup batter for the Giants today. 2-4. That's a fly ball lifted to right field. Bruce in right. and that's 1 away. Hunter Pence, and that's 410. It's going to be off of Syndergaard's card. Fly ball lifted to center. Center fielder Granderson runs it down for out number 2. And now it's Joe Panik, the second baseman for the Giants. Off Panik's card, 3-8 popped up to the right side. Loney over, waits, out number 3. So Thor has retired 6 in a row. We go to the top of the third. It's going to be Asdrubal Cabrera. And that's 3-7. And that's lined base hit center field for Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera started his career off with the Cleveland Indians. Then he played a little bit in Toronto and then came over to the Mets. 5-7. That's a ground ball, second base. X. Second baseman Panik. I believe Panik is a 1. We rolled a 2. So that's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. 2 out now, and it's Thor, the batter. Here's the pitch from Samardzija. And it's 4-5, and that's a ground ball right at the second baseman. Panik over to first. 3 away. We go to the bottom of the third. Joe Panik is leading it off. Here's the pitch from Syndergaard. 5-12, and that's a ground ball. Shortstop X Cabrera is a 2. Feels it over to first. 1 away. Now I had, wait a second. I had Blanco. I had Blanco up. So Panik already batted. I have Blanco, and then it's Brown. Trevor Brown, the catcher. 1 away now. 2-5, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Thor. And then it's the pitcher Samardzija. Jeff Samardzija. His own batting card batted 156 with 5 doubles. And that's going to be a 6-5. And that's a strikeout off Syndergaard's card. So strikeout number 3 and out number 3. 3 up, 3 down, 3 consecutive innings. So we have 9 retired in a row by Thor. And we go to the top of the fourth. It's going to be Reyes, Granderson, and Cespedes against Samardzija, Jeff Samardzija. Here's the pitch. That's going to be off of Samardzija's card, a 5-9, and that's a strikeout. So Ray is down on strikes. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Granderson, who grounded out in his first at bat, 1-4, and that's a ground ball right back to Belt. He takes it himself. Out number 2, Cespedes is up. Cespedes struck out. And that's going to be a 2-11. That's a line drive base hit for Yoenis Cespedes. So Cespedes is on at first, 2 outs. Jay Bruce, the batter. Jeff Samardzija looks in for the sign, sets and deals, and here's the pitch. 2-8. That's going to be a ground ball right at Belt. He's going to flip to the pitcher covering for out number 3. Go to the bottom of the fourth. Mets leave 1 in that inning. Still no score. It's going to be Span, Nunez, and Belt in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Syndergaard has not allowed a base runner up to this point. Cinco de Mayo, folks. So a 4-11. It's going to be off Syndergaard's card, and that's a fly ball left field X. Left fielder for the Mets is Cespedes. He's a 3 out there. We dialed a 4, and that's going to be off Cespedes' glove. He misplayed that, and safe at second is going to be Span. So E7, Span reaches second on the error by the Met left fielder, Ioannis Cespedes, or Ioannis, excuse me. And Span is on at second. And it's going to be Eduardo Nunez. Here's the pitch. 2-8. It's a hard hit ground ball to the third baseman. Met third baseman Reyes looks Span back to second, over to first, gets Nunez by a step. He can motor down that line. There's no doubt about that. So at second with one out is Span, and it's Brandon Belt, the batter. Here's the pitch. 5-8 off Syndergaard's card. It's going to be a strikeout. Fourth strikeout and second out of the inning, and it's Brandon Crawford coming to bat now. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Span takes his lead off second. Here's the pitch to to Crawford. 4-3 off Syndergaard, and that's a ground ball to the first baseman, X. It's a 9. First baseman is a 3, Loney, and he takes it himself. That's a third out. The Giants leave 1. The error, and there's no score after 4 complete innings of play. Go to the top of the 5th inning. It's going to be Walker, Loney, and Cabrera against Jeff Samardzija. It's the pitch, 3-12, and that's lined, caught by Panic at second base. Next is James Loney, and it's a 6-9, and that's a ground ball, shortstop X. Our shortstop is a 2, Cabrera, over to his right, and throws it to first. I'm sorry, that was Crawford, and he's a 1. Got that mixed up there. Same result, 2 away, 6-3. And now it's going to be Cabrera. Top of the 5th inning, no score here in San Francisco. 5-3. This is off Samardzija's card, and that's a ground ball to Loney. To Belt. 16. Belt is a 1. 16 is an out. Flips it to the pitcher covering, 3-1 for the third out. We go to bottom of the 5th. No score. It's going to be Pence, Panic, and Blanco for the Giants. Pence batted .289 with 13 home runs and 400 at bats. Here's the pitch to Pence from Syndergaard. That's going to be 2-4. That's a ground ball right at Cabrera. Fields it, guns it to first. 1 away. Panic next. And that's going to be 3-7. And that's going to be stroked into the gap. And that's going to fall in there, and cutting it off quickly is the center fielder Granderson, keeping Panic to a single. First hit of the game against Thor. There was no doubt about that one. That was lined into the gap, right center field gap. So Panic's on at first, 1 out, and it's Gregor Blanco, the Giant left fielder. And that's a 4-3. A 4-3 is a ground ball first base. Loney is a 3. And that's going to be by Loney. And hustling over to third, it's going to be Panic. Stopping at first is Blanco. So first and third runners on the corners here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets are going to bring the infield in. Trevor Brown, the catcher. Here's the pitch. 6-6. And that's lined, base hit. Scoring is Panic. Stopping at second is Blanco, I believe. Blanco is there, waving him to third. Let's see what happens. And he's safe at third base, under the tag. RBI single by Trevor Brown. Runs on first and third again. Excuse me, and Samardzija. The batter with 1 out, infield in for the Mets. Trying to cut off that run at home. That's going to be 6-7. That's off of Syndergaard's card. Fly ball right field. That's a B fly ball. And that's going to be deep enough for Blanco to score. So it's a sacrifice fly, out number 2, but Samardzija picks up an RBI. So the Giants pick up 2 big runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. They lead it 2-0. And now it's going to be Span, the top of the order for the Mets. Here's the pitch from Syndergaard. And it's 1-9. It's going to be off Span. And that's line base hit. Stopping at second is going to be Brown. And there's some action in the Mets bullpen now. Some moving around down there. Not sure who it is. Can't really make it out. That looks like Hansel Robles and Jerry Blevins. Righty and a lefty. It's going to be Nunez. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. It's a 4th hit off of Thor in this inning. Hadn't given up a hit in the first 4 innings. But in the bottom of the 5th, the Giants start getting to him. And it's going to be Nunez, who's 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Here's the pitch. And that's a 5-8. That's off Syndergaard's card. And that's a swing and a miss. And Nunez goes down on strikes for the 3rd out. But the Giants leave 2 and score 2 here in the bottom of the 5th. We go to the top of the 6th. 2-0 Giants. It's going to be Rivera, Syndergaard spot, and Reyes against Jeff Samardzija. 2-7. It's a swing and a miss. Rivera goes down on strikes. He's 0 for 2 on the day. That's strikeout number 3 for Samardzija. Noah Syndergaard is going to bat. 2-7. That's a strikeout. 4th strikeout, out number 2. And Reyes now. 1-7. It's a ground ball right at Brandon Crawford. Over to Belt. Out number 3. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 2-0 Giants. In the bottom of the 6th, Syndergaard is going to face Belt, Crawford, and Pence. Here's the pitch to Brandon Belt. Belt is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. 4-3, and that's a ground ball first base X. 15, Loney is a 3, and he boots it. Loney drops the ball, and Belt is on. It's a second error by the Mets today. Earlier on, Cespedes in left field made an error. So the leadoff batter here in the bottom of the 6th is on an error, and it's going to be Crawford. Brandon Crawford. So they have Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. Love that. Okay. 6-2. That's a fly ball right field X. Our right fielder is bruised. Ball hit to his left down the line. And Bruce a 3. That's off Bruce's glove. Another error. And that's going to allow Belt to go to 3rd. So it's an E9. And Crawford is on at 2nd. Bruce, I guess, just took his eye off that ball. Oh, all right. Okay, 2nd and 3rd now. And it's going to be Pence. And Mets are going to walk Hunter Pence. Intentional walk to Hunter Pence. Bases loaded now. Joe Panic, the batter. Infield is in. Here's the pitch from Noah. Say 2-8, 2-8. It's a hard hit ground ball right at the shortstop. And that's going to, Cabrera's going to go home with it. Back to first, not in time. So an out, they get Belt at home plate, and the bases are still loaded. Fielder's choice for Panic. Fielder's choice for Panic. So Panic on at first now. Pence at second. Crawford at third. 1 out. Gregor Blanco, who singled and scored earlier in the game, is 1 for 2. Here's the pitch with the infield in. It's going to be 4-4. And that's a ground ball at the second baseman. And they're going to look. He's going to go home with it. Out at home is Crawford again. So that's an out. And back to first, not in time. Bases loaded. Infield's going to play regular depth now, and it's going to be Trevor Brown. Trevor Brown, the catcher, batted .237 with 5 home runs and 173 at-bats. He hit an RBI single in the 5th inning. So here's the pitch. And it's 5-4. And that's a swing and a miss, and Brown down on strikes. Strikeout number 6 for Syndergaard. And that's the end of the 6th inning. 2-0 Giants. So the Mets somehow get out of that bases loaded jam a couple of times. A couple of errors and an intentional walk loaded the bases, but then 2 grounders right at the infielders, getting the runner at home, the force out at home, and then finally the strikeout. So the top of the 7th now, it's going to be Granderson, Cespedes, and Bruce for the Mets. It's 2-0 ball game. Here's the pitch from Samardzija to Granderson. And that's going to be lined. Base hit for Granderson. So Granderson's on with a single here to lead off top of the 7th. Cespedes, 2-7. And that's going to be driven into the gap. And that's going to roll to the wall. And they're going to try to score Granderson, waving him home. And he is safe under the tag. Cespedes stops at second base with a double. RBI double for Yoenis Cespedes, scoring Granderson for the Mets' first run. It's a 2-1 ball game now. So the Mets threw caution to the wind and waved Granderson home with nobody out. And it paid off. So it's a 2-1 ball game now. Cespedes is on at second. Bruce, the batter, against Samardzija. There is action now in the Giants bullpen. Here's the pitch. 3-7. It's going to be off Bruce's card, and that's a swing and a miss, and Bruce down on strikes. 5th strikeout for Samardzija. Out number 1. Next is Neil Walker. And that's 6-6. And that ball is lined and caught by the first baseman, Belt. 2 away. James Loney next. Here's the pitch to Loney. And that ball is lined and again caught by the first baseman, Belt. So Belt catches 2 line drives, and that's the 3rd out. So the Mets strand the tying run at second base in Cespedes, but do score 1 run on 2 hits here in the top of the 7th to make it a 2-1 ball game. Pretty exciting ball game right now. And it's going to be the Samardzija in the bottom of the 7th, Span and Nunez. And it looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter. Gillespie's coming out. Connor Gillespie going to hit for Samardzija in the bottom of the 7th. Jerry, hey man, long time. Been doing a lot of work, man. You're going to watch Connor Gillespie bat against Noah Syndergaard. Still in the game, believe it or not, here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's a 2-1 ball game from San Francisco. And leading off the bottom of the 7th is going to be the pinch hitter Gillespie, followed by Denard Span and Eduardo Nunez. So Noah looks in for the sign and deals. 310. This is off of Gillespie's card. A hard ground ball right at the third baseman, Reyes. He feels it, guns it to first. 1 away. And next up is Denard Span, the top of the order. Span for the day is 1 for 3. He's reached twice. He struck out once and reached on an error on the by Cespedes and singled. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. The pitch to Span is 3-6, and that's ball 4. And that looks like it's going to be all for Syndergaard now. So Nunez is coming up, and going to bring in Hansel Robles. Robles was, you can see, pretty good season, 6-4 with a 3.48 ERA in 2016. He's going to pitch to Nunez with a runner on first and 1 out. And it's 5, 6. So 6 1/3 for Syndergaard. Syndergaard gave up no hits until the 5th inning. Gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 5th inning. None in the 6th. So he gave up 4 runs so far. Walks only 1. Actually 2 with an intentional walk. 2 walks, struck out 6. No home runs allowed. And it's going to be Hansel Robles to Nunez. Here's the pitch. Double switch for the Mets. It's going to be Kelly Johnson. Actually, no, it's going to be Wilmer Flores playing first base. And okay, here's the pitch to Nunez, 5-8. That's going to be off of Robles' card, and that's going to be gapped. And nobody's going to get to that one. That's going to roll to the wall, and Nunez is going to go for 3. No, he slips and falls, heads back to second. The throw, he is safe at second base, but scoring easily with Span on that. And that's a 3-1 Giant lead. Now, RBI double by Nunez off the first pitch delivered from Hansel Robles. Next is going to be Belt. Brandon Belt, a lefty, and we're going to see a pitching change. It's going to be Jerry Blevin, the lefty specialist, coming in to face the lefty Belt with Nunez on at second base. And if you see, Blevins was 4-2 with a 2.79 ERA. Probably only face 1 batter here. We'll see what happens. Crawford, who's up after Belt, is also lefty, so he'll probably face these 2. And then you got Hunter Pence, a righty. So let's see what happens here with Nunez on at second base. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. The Giants leading 3-1. Brandon Belt, the batter. Belt is 0 for 3 today. Grounded out, struck out, and then hit a grounder to the first baseman, Loney, who booted it, and he reached on an error. And here's the pitch from Blevins. It's going to be off Blevins' card, a 4-9. A 4-9 is going to be a split die, but that's hit into the gap, and that's going to fall in there for a single, and that's going to score Nunez. So an RBI single by Brandon Belt off of Jerry Blevins. Four to 1 score now by the Giants. And it's going to be Brandon Crawford against Blevins. 4-6, and that's a strikeout. So Crawford down on strikes for out number 2. And it's going to be Pence, Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence is 0 for 2 on the day. He was intentionally walked in the 6th inning. Blevins is going to stay in to pitch to Pence. It's a 5-10. 5-10, that's a strikeout. So Pence down on strikes. And that's all she wrote for inning number 7 for the Giants. They score 2 runs on 2 hits and a walk. And they now lead it by a score of 4-1. Go to the top of the 8th. It's going to be Cabrera, Rivera, and Wilmer Flores against Jeff Samardzija. Oh no, we pinch hit for Samardzija. So it's going to be Law. Law is the new pitcher for the Giants. Derek Law. Derek Law was 4-2 with a 2.13 ERA. He'll be the new pitcher for the Giants. And let's get it started here. Here's the pitch to Cabrera. And that's a 2-7. And that's a ground ball right at Crawford. Crawford fields it over to first. 1 away. Next is Rene Rivera. Rivera's 0 for 2. Grounded into a double play and struck out. And that's 1-7. That's a swing and a miss. Down on strikes. First strikeout for Law. Derek Law. And it's Wilmer Flores. Wilmer Flores, who came in on the double switch. He's playing first base for the Mets. That's a 6-8. 6-8 is popped up right side. Second baseman there. Panic calls for it, and that's out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down here in the top of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th is going to be Panic, Blanco, and Brown against Josh Smoker. Josh Smoker, I really don't know that much about him other than he had a 4.70 ERA, so he's part of this triumvirate of players that go on to this random, generic, poor performance, very poor overall effectiveness, poor control, very poor. And so they're all on there together. Wynoa, Edgin, Smoker, all those guys get one generic card because they're all terrible. So anyway, they'll be in there facing Panic, Blanco, and Brown. See what happens here. So it's Josh Smoker. Joe, here's the pitch to Panic. 6-10 off Smoker's card. 6-10 is a fly ball center field X. Our center fielder is a 3. We rolled a 2, and that's going to drop in there for a double. So Panic doubles. He's on at second now. And Gregor Blanco, the batter. 4-8. And that's a line drive base hit. Panic is going to stop at third. Runners on the corners for Brown. Infield's going to have to be drawn in for the Mets. And it's a 3-5, and that's a strikeout. 1 away. And it's going to be a pinch hitter now for the... It's going to be Buster Posey. He's going to pinch hit. Posey for Law in the bottom of the 8th. And the Mets are going to bring in Addison Reed to face Posey. Addison Reed was 4-2 with a 1.97 ERA in 78 innings pitched. So pretty effective in that season. And he will be facing Buster Posey, who did not start this game, but comes in as a pinch hitter in the pitcher's spot. We'll pull Strickland. Hunter Strickland is going to be the pitcher who's going to come in for the Giants. Nice guy, nice, love it. When you're talking to me about 68, that's you're talking something I'm interested in. I love that. Okay. So keep the info coming on what's going on with Jerry Koosman, the Coos. Right? Never got the credit he deserved. Never got the credit he deserved. What a pitcher, man. Tremendous pitcher. Okay, so it's going to be Buster Posey facing Addison Reed with runners on first and third on the corners with the infield in. Jerry, I'm not sure what are you talking about, so I just want to confirm. I ordered what? From where? Oh, yeah, no. Man, the card sleeves I get from a guy on on eBay, not from Amazon. I get them on eBay. Here, I'll show you how they come. They come like in the. I bought 500 for 20 bucks. Okay, they come in like 5 packs that looks like this. Okay, and it was I think it was 500 for 20 bucks. They usually go for about 100 for $5, but if you buy them a few more, they give you a little discount. And I'll try to remember to get the link and post it here after this game's over. I'll try to post it here. If I don't remember, just message me, and even if the game's over and you message me, I still get it, and my phone alerts me to that. So you can message me and say, hey, don't forget about the link. I'll try to remember. I probably won't. I probably will remember, but just in case I don't. Okay, because I know the Mets are starting in a little while. I'll be watching that. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Listen, I'll tell you about these things. You see, I want to put it's really, if I showed you how I have all my teams stacked, it's a little bit of a pain. I would really like to put them into envelopes, and they sell these coin envelopes at like any of these office places that are the right size for these cards, except this is the issue: when you put the cards in the sleeves, it gets so thick that you can't fit them in any of the envelopes. I haven't found an envelope that's tall enough and thick enough to fit these sleeves. And plus, they're selling these really cool envelopes that give you all the information on the team. It gives you the little logo of the team, and I love those. They look really great. But number 7, right? But when you put the sleeves or when you put the cards into the sleeves and you then pack them together as a team, they won't fit in those envelopes. So, and what I'm considering to be a solution is not one partial solution is not putting the subs into sleeves. So that'll make the pack a little bit smaller. Or once I'm done with the 2016 season, I'm not going to play it for a while. So then I could take all the cards out of the sleeves, which is a little bit of a drag, a little bit of work, and then put them into the envelopes and then store them that way, protect them, with double rubber bands, that sort of thing, and then just store them away, because I won't be playing 2016 for a while. Not necessarily the greatest season in the world. It just so happens that I started it, so I want to finish it. But that's the deal with the envelopes. So the envelopes are cool. Sleeves are great. They protect these cards. They'll be brand new, later on in the future. Whoever gets them will be like, wow, this person took care of their cards. I hate when I see old cards and they're all been devastated, and soda's been poured all over them, and they have all kinds of stains, and they're filthy. I bought a treasure trove of cards. The guy used all the American League and wore them to death. They were just filthy, dirty, grimy, greasy, but never, ever, ever touched the National League teams. So I got a set of 75, 86, 81, 78, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 69, all National League that were never touched, whereas the American League, for all those sets, were destroyed. Okay, all right, good, cool stuff. Thank you, thank you. Anyway, all right, let's get back to this game. Okay, here's the pitch from Addison Reed to Buster Posey. Runners on the corners. Mets infield is drawn in. And it's going to be a 2-8. And that's line drive. Base hit center field. Into score is Panic. Hustling over to third is Blanco. Posey with an RBI single, a pinch hit RBI single here in the bottom of the eighth. Makes the score 5-1 Giants. And it's going to be Denard Span now. Denard Span facing Addison Reed. Again, runners on first and third. Infield in for the Mets. Span today is 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Here's the pitch from Reed. And that's going to be a 5-6 off Reed's card. That's a strikeout. So Span goes down on strikes for out number 2. And it's going to be Eduardo Nunez. Infield is now at regular depth for the Mets. And here's the pitch to Nunez. It's 5-3. Again, off. It's a ground ball right to Flores, who's a 4 at first base. We roll a 13. And Flores makes the play, flips it to Reed covering for out number 3. So the Mets allow 1 run on 3 hits. The pinch hit RBI single by Buster Posey. And it's a 5-1 Giant lead now. We go to the top of the 9th. It's going to be Reyes, Granderson, and Cespedes facing Strickland, Hunter Strickland. Hunter Strickland was 3-3 with a 3.10 ERA in 2016. 5-1 the score. Here's pitch to Reyes. Reyes leading off for the Mets. Reyes is 0 for 3 today. He flied out, struck out, and grounded out. The pitch, it's off of Strickland's card, 5-7. 5-7 is a ball hit up the middle and through for a single. So Granderson gets a hit. Leadoff batter on with a single for the Mets. And it's Yoenis Cespedes. And that's a 3-5. And that's a swing and a miss. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was Granderson up. And that's a 3-5. And that's ball 4. So first and second, first 2 batters on base here for the Mets here in the top of the 9th inning in a 5-1 Giant lead. And it's Cespedes, so on deck is the tying run at this point. Or in the hole, rather. In the hole, Walker will be the tying run if everybody from this point on gets on base. See what happens. Yoenis Cespedes, who's 2 for 3 today. Here's the pitch. It's a 6-9. A 6-9 is a deep drive, and that's going to drive the right fielder Pence to the track, to the wall, and makes the catch. Makes the catch for out number 1. And with that deep drive to right field, that's out number 1 for Cespedes. And Jay Bruce now with runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. It's Jay Bruce, the batter. Here's the pitch from Strickland. 3-7 off of Bruce. And that's a swing and a miss. And Bruce down on strikes. Out number 2 now. And next is Walker. Walker's 0 for 3. Neil Walker. Here's a pitch, and it's a 5-5, and that's a swing and a miss, and Walker strikes out. Game over. That'll do it. Mets lose it by a score of 5-1. They lose their third in a row to the Giants. And the loss is going to go to Syndergaard. Samardzija gets the win. And Syndergaard gives up but 2 runs in this game. And that's all she wrote, guys. That's all she wrote. Mets lose 3 in a row so far. They won the first game of a 4-game series and on to St. Louis. They play the Cards next. Yes, ball stat, Mike. Ball stat. That's the thing I want to get into. I want to be able to use that, but I don't even have. I need time to figure it out. Yeah, not the Mets day. They lost 2 in a row today, huh? Lost in the morning and now they lost in the afternoon. Not going to play again until probably tonight. I got to set up the Cardinals. Got to write in all the data. Yeah, I want to get into you being able to keep all the stats for all the players because hey, this takes a lot of time, and I'm keeping track of the main players, but I wish I had all the stats for all the relievers and all that because that's kind of pretty cool to look at and see how the relievers are doing and if they've been effective or not, and that's kind of fun just to and look at some of the secondary players who I'm not keeping stats for. Like I don't keep stats for Kelly Johnson. I don't keep stats for Wilmer Flores. I don't keep stats for James Loney. There's some secondary players. I don't keep stats for the catchers who kind of platoon, because that's a little bit more complicated. They come in a lot as pinch hitters and all that, and I don't want to always be tracking pinch hitters. So, yeah, if I could use ball stat and ball score and all this kind of thing, that would be great. But I have to figure out how to use it and be comfortable using it and the whole thing. So I've been looking it up and trying to get on there, but it's if I have to input information, I know it. If I have to put in input, players for every team all the time, and then learn how to navigate it and where to go to look at my roster and pull up the teams and then, how to input them in a game. I mean, I know I kept score at a lot of Little League games and so forth, and I used, what did I use? I forget. I used one of the apps, and it was great. It took a while. It was a little bit of a learning curve, but once you knew it, you knew it. But it took a little while to learn it. So that's the only thing. That's the thing why I'm avoiding it. Just I don't have really that much time to waste learning a new program. But it just may be me who's a little apprehensive, fearful of dealing with a new technology. That's what I hear. You can import from RetroSheet. But, again, I got to learn all those steps. I don't know what RetroSheet is. I guess that's a part of one of the programs. There's a certain, folder or something that's called RetroSheet. You go in there, it brings up all the teams. You click on a team, and it'll import all the information. So then, boom, I don't have to be writing in every single player. And that's what I think is the key. So, again, the more guys tell me, hey, you can do this, you can do that with it. And I work with computers all day long, so it's not like I've never seen a computer before. But the stuff I do work with, I'm familiar with, and there's a learning curve for me. And once I learn it, and then I'm comfortable with it. YouTube, and you can see it done. Yeah, okay. All right, cool, man. Thank you for the more a lot of guys are saying that, I hear on the forums, a lot of guys are saying, hey, this is what I use to keep the stats. It keeps all the stats for me, and I don't have to kill myself writing and keeping. I've shown you guys how I keep my stats on the index cards, and I'm gonna have to write all this stuff in for all these players now. As you can see, Syndergaard lost this one, so I would write in loss, right? And he went 6 2/3. I know this is primitive, man. 6 2/3 for, I believe it was 6 2/3. Let me see. 6 1/3. 6 1/3, and gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2. Oh, no, that's the balls, 2 balls, and 6 strikeouts. So that's how I'm doing it. Old school, super duper old school, not very efficient. And then I got to go to my Walker was 0 for 4. There's a lot of stuff I don't keep doubles or triples. I know, man. Just preaching to the choir. I just got to get over there and get that. That's Walker. Cabrera was, what did Cabrera do? He was 1 for 3. Started a line here for him here. 1 for 3. Reyes was 1 for 4. That's 123rd game he played, or not that he played, but the team played. Jay Bruce was 1 for 4. Then I got to add up all this stuff on each card, and then add them up all together. Granderson, he played in this game, and he was 1 for 3. It was game 124. He did not play last game. Granderson did not play last game. And who else? That's it. That's who I'm keeping track of. Those are 4 or 5 players. So anyway, that's my deal. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. Thanks for giving me the heads up. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys now. Final score in this one, the San Francisco Giants, 5. The Mets 1. The Giants win the series, the 4-game series, 3-1. This is game 124. Let me give you the the record for the Mets. Let me look here quickly and tell you what it is. It's 66-58 now. 66-58. 124 games they've played into the season. So that's going to be it. And then it's Combat Painters signing off. I'll talk to you guys later. Probably set up St. Louis. I love St. Louis. We're going to be playing at St. Louis for 3 games, and then we go back home for a long homestand to finish out August. And then we head to the last month. Now, there's a whole issue with the last month of the season. What am I going to do with all those? Last year, actually, I was watching the games in the month of September, and they were pitching 9 pitchers in a 9-inning game. So that's not going to be happening here. And also, that they're going to be bringing up a lot of guys from AAA that are barely carded. So how am I going to deal with all that? That's something that I have to kind of grapple with and get my arms or my brain around, wrap my brain around how I'm going to deal with all that. Am I going to use just a generic card for all the new guys that they bring in? Or am I going to go look at their stats and try to line up the generic card with their stats? That's going to be crazy. Because, a lot of the teams are going to be bringing in all these new guys that just got brought up, when the rosters expand to 40 guys. How have you guys done it when you're trying to use actual lineups and you run into September? That's a good question. So let me know. Send me a message. Tell me, hey, this is how I did it. This is how I figured out to do it, because I know that it's going to be crazy to try to use actual lineups, at least starting lineups, when they start bringing in all these players that are unknowns and have maybe 10 at-bats or 12 at-bats or 20 at-bats or 24 at-bats. So anyway, Combat Painter says adios, so long, happy Cinco de Mayo. May or may not be around tonight, but for tomorrow, we'll be around definitely for at least 2 games. Take care.